We earn money, save money and buy things. Living beyond the economic cycle is impossible. What trends are dictated by world markets and how does it affect consumers? Watch it in People and Economy. In this program you will know what factors do form the video game industry, how much do e-gamers earn, and where professional video gamers are trained. Shooters, strategies and races. According to British analysts, last year the world industry of video games exceeded $100 billion. And by 2021 this figure is expected to increase by another 30 billion, experts expect. Nowadays the market of various games is considered one of the most rapidly developing segments of the entertainment industry. Indeed, its annual growth rates reach 8%.
В первую очередь, конечно же, это интерес, глобальный интерес, потому что игровая...
First of all, this is a global interest because the video game industry is developing from year to year. When we play a video game, we can compare it with a film.
Динамичные видеоролики, которые ни с каким художественным фильмом сравнить нельзя.
Nowadays, virtual contests are called e-sports. Special attention to this area is paid all over the world. For example, in some international universities, e-sports are taught as disciplines. Educational grants and certificates for training in best computer clubs are given to the best students. The number of companies sponsoring e-sports tournaments is increasing from year to year, and prize funds sometimes reach millions of dollars.
Любители видеоигр, которые в свое время играли просто для себя, для развлечения, стали активно применять это как...
Many video gamers turned their hobby into a profession. They started organizing championships and make money on that. The first major international tournament took place in 2010. Navi team from Kiev won it.
Проходили такие крупные турниры, как Арбалет Кап, да, там был серьезный призовой фонд, и люди решили, что можно на этом зарабатывать.
Professional gaming has been recognized as an official sport in many countries. In Kazakhstan, this issue is still under consideration. At the same time, experts think that virtual contests in the country have a great potential for development.
Наша страна тоже следует.
Our country follows global tendencies and laws. In Europe, it has been considered a profession for a long time. In Russia, a special act was adopted which recognizes e-sports as a full-fledged part of sports. People can obtain certain documents certifying that they are e-athletes and get salaries. I think that soon Kazakhstan will also practice this policy. Aitlan Tuganbayev has been a professional gamer for 4 years. He started to do esports after a trauma which did not allow the guy to play his beloved game, football. It was just a hobby which eventually evolved into something more important than a mere fun. I made more effort and started visiting various tournaments. I knew that my classmates also liked to play computer games and built a small team. At that time, various tournaments took place at our school. In the beginning, I lost many games and was a little bit upset. During 4 years, Aitlan took part at hundreds of tournaments and was taken into one of Kazakhstan's best teams. After becoming an experienced e-gamer, he won his first major competition.
Турнир был где-то на, не помню на сколько, наверное, $2000 онлайн.
There was an online tournament with a prize fund about $2,000. Among the competitors were teams from Russia and Europe, Team Empire, a famous esports organization from Russia. We won them, and it was a real pleasure. And it was just a beginning. After this victory, Aitlan successfully performed at another contest. At one of them, he won a scholarship for studying at one of major universities of Kazakhstan when he was a schoolboy. My dream is to be a coach of some team or make a career in esports because it is developing very rapidly. I think that you will find your niche if you are really well versed in this field.
Шаришь в этом.
According to experts, best gamers will never be out of money. In fact, besides victories at international tournaments, they conclude agreements with major sponsoring companies and get official salaries, which sometimes reach $2,000.
Многие крупные бренды, которые создают
Many brands which create peripherals for computers, even those companies which produce components, are willing to pay for advertising to any famous e-gamer. They make money on that, like producers of energy drinks and food.
И за счет этого, наверное, они и зарабатывают деньги.
According to gamers, they need to practice about 8 hours daily in order to play on a professional arena. Some of them develop their skills at home. Others prefer to do that in computer clubs or so-called esports arenas. Ravil Tosunov, the founder of one of such institutions, explained that this is about the equipment which even successful gamers often cannot afford themselves.
Это уже не компьютерные клубы, их
These are
называют.
not computer clubs. They are called cybersports arenas because one game place in such institutions costs about 500,000 tenge. All such arenas are equipped with good and expensive devices because few gamers can afford themselves a keyboard at a price of 50,000 tenge and a mouse at a price of 30,000 tenge. Inveterate gamers spend on games quite a lot of money. For instance, annual costs of residents of CIS countries exceed $10 billion. This is even higher than box office receipts. In the meantime, last year earnings from game sales in Kazakhstan exceeded $5 million. In fact, the price of a game begins from 2,000 tenge and sometimes reaches 25 to 30,000 tenge. In total, there are about 2 million gamers in Kazakhstan. Their average age is 18 to 40 years.
Все больше детей в наше время и в предыдущие поколения, меньше играли в свое время, да, тогда, когда они должны.
This is because previous generations, when they were children, played less than modern kids.
Дети должны играться.
The contemporary trends oblige children to write, read, visit early childhood development clubs, and know things they do not need. As a result, after 20 to 30, people compensate the lack of playing games when they were under the age of 7.
Через 30, через 20 лет.
When a new game comes to the market, it usually entails the emergence of additional gadgets in the form of steering wheels, pedals, joysticks, special computer mice and keyboards, as well as augmented reality helms, stereo headphones and many others. All these devices cost quite a lot, as their prices begin from 20,000 tenge and sometimes exceed even 300,000 tenge. And Kazakhstan is also keeping pace with global trends. Indeed, the domestic market is full of games for various consoles and PlayStations, which account for more than 25% of the global sales of video games.
Сейчас основной
Currently, we lay emphasis on consoles because the computer industry is becoming less popular and most of developers focus on digital distribution. Therefore, the number of computer games on discs is constantly falling.
меньше и меньше.
Modern video games require high-performance characteristics from devices and computers. Users need to increase their capacity. Many people cannot afford it. Therefore, many fans of virtual worlds seek alternatives, for example, social games available for a greater number of users. Often, these are online games which from year to year hit new records in the number of downloads and players. In Kazakhstan, this segment accounts for 35% of the entire game market. It should be also noted that most of such games are free and their developers earn in them billions of dollars.
Когда вы устанавливаете бесплатную онлайн-игру, вы должны понимать, что это небольшой крючок в вашу
When
сторону.
you
потому
install
что
a free game, you should understand that this is a sort of a decoy.
вы хотите быть лучше, и 100% без различных
The game can allure you. You want to be a better and more confident player.
вам необходимо будет приобретать.
For that purpose, you will need to buy additional equipment, upgrade and modify your tanks. This can be much too costly.
Свои различные модели танков, что, конечно же, очень затрачиваемо.
Mobile games are popular as well. Last year, this segment brought to the global economy almost $37 billion. This is more than revenue from sales of personal computer games, or about 40% of the market. Mobile games attract users' attention with simple graphic. They are easy to use and always available in the internet. Usually their price does not exceed 2000 tenge. Statistics shows that 53% of smartphone owners play games every day. Only last year, more than 200 million tablet computers were sold throughout the world. Notably, 70% of users of such devices are gamers. Nothing but the number of downloads turns app developers into millionaires. For example, inventors of Angry Birds game earn more than 150 million euros annually, and well-known online game World of Tanks last year brought its designer 218 million euros. Of course, such incomes are quite striking, but few people know that launching an application comes to a pretty penny. For instance, the most expensive game was elaborated by programmers from Scotland. Its development costed $264 million. The rising interest towards video games also encouraged Kazakhstani programmers to act. Games of domestic application designers appeared in the market for the first time in 2006, and 3 years ago our games were already available on international websites. Within 1 year, fans of video games spend on their hobby about $500 and sometimes much more. Most of gamers spend in the virtual world more than 1 hour a day, almost the same time they play in mobile apps. According to sociologists, this is about 8 hours. At the same time, this kind of entertainment cannot be called cheap. However, saving costs on games is quite possible. One of the ways is to buy second-hand games. It is also advisable to see after-sales campaigns. In such days, purchases can be quite cheap. There are even special websites which keep track of ongoing sales. Sharing economy, a popular trend, also affected video games. Experienced gamers recommend other people to buy them jointly. It is also advised to pay attention to paid subscriptions, which offer an opportunity to get several free games per month. Exchanging is another way of cost saving. Old games can be swapped for new ones. The internet is full of such announcements. Asian countries play a special role in the game industry formation. Indeed, people say that it is developing in the region by leaps and bounds. Esports games are given here special attention. For instance, in South Korea, virtual contests are already regarded as national sports. 75% of local population plays video games. These are people aged between 13 and 60. Often the Koreans play in clubs. There are almost 20,000 of them. Esports in South Korea are so popular that contests are shown by TV, and best gamers earn hundreds of $1,000s annually. There is even a special department in the country which controls this sphere at the domestic level. In addition, some education institutions plan to open special faculties where students will be taught professional gaming. World Cyber Games emerged in Korea and was the most popular and famous discipline. Nowadays it is ranked second after the Olympic Games. About 1,500 gamers gain huge amounts of money. Thus, in the recent period, they raised $35 million. The Koreans regard games not only as a hobby, but also as a hard work. They are very serious about that. Despite the growing market in Asia, America is not going to lose ground in the area of video games. 146,000 people are employed in the game industry. Each of them earns, on the average, $100,000 annually. Games of American developers are in demand all over the world. The US authorities are developing the game industry in all areas and open special educational institutions for developers of various video games. Over the last 5 years, the number of such universities increased by 54%. Talented students enjoy special grants. Thus, last year the amount of an average grant was $90,000. Experts estimate the market of Asia and Pacific at more than $46.5 billion. North America ranks second with more than $25 billion. It is followed by Europe, Africa and the Middle East with $23.5 billion. The market of Latin America is estimated at $4 billion. The rest of the world accounts for slightly over $500 million. This hotel in Amsterdam is known as the Gamers' Paradise. It was constructed specially for game fans. It has 36 rooms. Each of them is equipped with game consoles. Notably, PlayStations are available not only in rooms, but also in the lobby and bar. Soon the owner of this unusual hotel is going to equip a special game room. The price of a standard room for 4 persons is 65 euros. Living in a deluxe suite costs 92 euros.